It'll run.
Seriously, he had to drill holes he had to drill and like manually tap holes literally just to get some of that stuff to fit because he didn't feel like returning it and getting a new part.
Oh,
Yeah, I had to zip tie my throttle cable one time because it broke. Oh my God, that's sketchy.
it's a 3-inch block.
They're not magnetic or anything.
They're not magnetic. No, if they're magnetic, they would rust.
So why does it do that?
It's ground so flat. The gauge ends are ground so flat. So typically, like in metrology and stuff, you're going to be using gloves as you handle these. I'm going to wipe them down whenever we're done with class. So these areas are so flat. So what I like to do is just take and clean them off. And then we'll bring them together. And you can do this. And it'd be better if you let the 3-inch hang out. So you're just going to twist it, squeeze it as it goes.
So what's the sign? Like why does it do that? Like why does that happen?
There's no air between it. It's suctioned together.
So it's like making a vacuum almost.
That's exactly what it does. So those are gauge blocks, 3-inch and 5-inch, and then you can just take and really you can pass any of this stuff around. Then here's some angle blocks. These have been handled a lot, not put back properly, so they've gotten some surface rust on them, which is not good. And then here's some gauge pins or pin gauges in dimensions. So here's 232. And you'll see there's a dash after this. This is 232 minus. So that means it could, if it's got a tolerance, it goes down, not up. So it could be 231 and 9/10, but it won't be 232 and 1/10. Okay. So be really cautious with these because you don't want, or even these. Actually, be cautious with all of them. But what you don't want to do is have this box drop.
Oh man, I've seen them drop.
And then you have a huge mess to pick up. Okay, so
Plus you could chip and
Don't
damage
give them to me.
absolutely.
Just don't let
Me
me.
neither. I accidentally snapped one of those in my CTC class. I was like, oh.
It happens. Yes, you want to be cautious with them. All right, so here's this is a vernier caliper, so it's got a vernier scale on it. We'll talk more about that as we go.
That is never seen one of them.
Vernier scale.
I've never seen one of them.
So I have a couple of them. It's not something that we specifically teach in PMI, but I have thrown some vernier scale calipers in the PMI box just so you can.
Is that a more exact measurement?
So it is and it isn't. So I would say the vernier scale is the 10th scale. So like on a micrometer, a lot of times you'll see a vernier micrometer measures out to tenths. But the vernier is this scale up here. And it's just more accurate in there. So height gauges are often a vernier scale height gauge on there. So, but you're bringing in more accuracy as you do it. So, like vernier becomes a catchphrase, and is oftentimes, or maybe not oftentimes, sometimes used in improper ways. So like. It'd be like this, like people will call any kind of rubber ring an O-ring. When there's a quad ring, an O-ring, there's several different types of things like that, but they end up getting the idea of
O-rings on engine plugs.
Yeah.
That stuff kind of sucks.
Yeah.
That's not that bad.
All right, so here's a vernier depth gauge. Here's a vernier height gauge we were just talking about. So here's one for gear teeth. This is our vernier scale on metric side. And so I'm going to buzz through these, but we'll be talking about them specifically as we go. We'll also make videos on it.
There's just so many tools for everything.
There is. Vernier protractor like this measures in degrees, minutes, and seconds.
I made a tool for every problem they had.
I mean that's what's happened is they said, man, we need to measure something really super accurate in angles. So they came up with a vernier scale that measures in degrees, minutes, and seconds. And so then here we have
Minutes and seconds?
Yeah. So you have a degree, right? And then you have the minutes, and you start to divide those out by 60s. And so you start to, then you take your degrees and you're cutting them in halves and halves and halves and halves and halves.
So you're gonna completely wipe everything I know about math, and everything goes up to hundreds, and go back to numbers, and go to time, and we're gonna,
Yeah, you thought that a protractor that just measured in degrees, you thought a degree was a degree was a degree, but now a degree is a much wider category that has much smaller degree increments inside of that degree.
just completely wipe my.
Yeah.
gonna test on that.
Reminds me of
There will be.
binary, like 1 + 1 = 1 or 2,
Yeah.
showing different numbers and zeros and ones, and you're like, that don't add up.
Right, yeah. So we'll do some specific videos on, well, we have videos on micrometers and scales. We don't have them on the vernier scale. We also don't have them on some of the vernier protractor stuff. So here's an interchangeable anvil micrometer. So it would be one frame, and then the ends on these just change. So you won't have to have as many micrometers. When you do that, you have to really make sure that you use the standard on them every single time, because when you change those ends out, it can be problematic. And the other problem that you have is if you have one like this, and let's just say it goes from 0 to 6 inches. If you have something that you have to measure that's 2 inches and 3 inches, you have to continuously change between the two. So you have to take the anvil off, measure it, 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 instead of just having a 2 micrometer and a 3 micrometer. So it's better to have individual micrometers. A micrometer always just measures a single inch, or 25 millimeters. So here would be, so I have a set like this that's like 6 to 12. I'll bring it in so you can see it. I think we have an adjustable one too here. Then there's some special different ones for, these can be measured for, or could be made for measuring like the thickness, the wall thickness of a tube, a pipe. A couple different kinds for that. Here's a disc micrometer, measuring really thin areas.
I could have used all these tools in our ag class.
Yeah, I mean, that's just
Like,
it.
The amount of stuff we had to figure out without any of these
Yeah.
was just a pain.
And these were created to save time. You know, and all of these things, you can measure gear teeth width on an optical comparator faster. But if you don't have that, then you've got to figure out a different way to do it. If you, maybe you don't have access to it where you're at, you've got to figure out a different way to do it. And so that's how a lot of these tools
There's
came
always
about.
ways around it. It's just how accurate.
Sure, how are you?
Sorry to interrupt real quick. Are these yours?
They are, yes.
Right here?
Yeah, where did they?
They were wound up in my room.
Okay, yeah. I mean, really, they could be with all the skills stuff. I mean, that's what they were bought for.
Okay, and do you want me to keep them?
If you want to keep them with all the skills stuff, that's totally fine.
It's up to you.
If you want me to hang on to them, I'm happy to
Would you
hang
like
on.
that? I
Yep,
can keep them over there in my cabinet, that's no big
yeah,
deal.
that'd be fine.
All right,
Yep,
all right, thanks.
thank you. We've been looking for that. Okay, so all kinds of special micrometers, and I'll let you guys do some of this stuff on your own. Here's reading the metric micrometer. We're going to be talking about how to read the micrometers over and over and over again, so don't worry about that. We'll catch that stuff as we go.
Halfway there.
So here's a depth micrometer. You read it backwards from a normal micrometer. So here would be the reading of a standard micrometer. Every one of these lines across here, so this is a depth micrometer, is 100,000 increments. Every small mark between it is 25,000.025. Every increment on here is in the
quarter.
it's quarter of 100. Yeah. So, and then every one of these marks is 25,000, so you take that quarter of 100 divided by 25. On the depth micrometer, you read what you don't see. On the regular micrometer, you read what you see. Digital and dial tools are way easier, right? I mean, they just basically say what they are. You'll have a tendency to go to the digital micrometer for all of your dimensions. It is not accurate. It is accurate within about 5 thousandths. It is not what you, when you're turning a shaft or milling a dimension, you need to use a micrometer. If the tolerance says plus or minus 2, you use a micrometer. If it says the tolerance is plus or minus 10, you use the caliper. If it's plus or minus 50, use a scale. So it's about using the right tool for the right thing. Here's dial height gauges. These are just the same things that we've seen before in just a dial format. Small hole gauges. You've got full ball, half ball stuff. They typically say that a full ball is good for a through hole, a half ball is good for a blind hole because you can get all the way down into it. I've used them interchangeably. It's really just a matter of using them. You will use these specifically in metrology. Telescoping gauges, when you're using a telescoping gauge, you want to make sure that you bring it out to the hole, that you don't snap it out. The ends can bust out on those things. Gentle, remember, these are precision tools, not meant to be used as hammers or any of those other things. Okay, so here's how you run it through there. Bring it in, slightly past, snug it, rotate it out, and then pull it out of the hole, centering it in there. It takes a little bit to get the feel on it. We'll do some practicing with it. A telescoping gauge is a transfer tool. You're going to use a micrometer to measure it. Here is an adjustable parallel. Adjustable parallel is really primarily, it uses a transfer tool to measure slots, keys, those types of things. Digital and dial indicators just measure movement up and down. They can measure steps and lengths.
A machinist toolbox has gotta be expensive.
I think I've probably got about $30,000.
That's the shops people need to break into right there. Machining shops, that's where all the money is.
Right, yeah, you're right.
Well, most of the money is in the machines, and you can't take them things.
It'll be hard to drag out.
When
Well, our
PMI
toolbox
burnt-
are on wheels.
When PMI burnt down in Jeff City, I was like, I about cried.
Yeah.
They were building the baddest excavator I've ever seen in my life. They just burnt it down.
They have all those expensive crap.
So if you'll look at these are a couple different styles of indicators and different ways that you should use them as far as the needles go. We'll talk more specifically about this as we go, and I'll make some video stuff on it too. You want these indicators to lay down as much as they can. When you hold the tip up, it causes tension across it as it goes across it and wants to kind of shake on there. So remember, the more that the indicator needle can lay down, the better it'll be. So see how that indicator is laying down across there? That's how you want it. So there they've zeroed it out, zeroed it up on the gauge block, and then measured the part. That part is not very good. That's a NIMS grinding part, but it's like all chattery on that edge. Sign bar, stay here long enough, you'll make one of those. We'll get to sign bars. This is just kind of an intro and overview. Adjustable sign plate, sign vise, surface texture measurements, the measurements of the waviness of the line. This is what you would typically see for a surface finish, a check mark, and it'll have a number attached to it as well. We've got surface gauges that we can measure what they are. We've got a digital surface gauge like this as well. Optical comparators, we've got one of these out in the shop. It is just that. You'll go through that in metrology, but we'll go through it here too. Microscope. So here you've got a microscope. So they've got a little part on there, and they're zeroed in on that little area. CMM. So we've got a CMM like this, and then we've got our portable CMM arms. So coordinate measuring machine is what that is. And so is that it? 88?
We made it.
Made it, yeah. Okay, so here's what I want you to do, is I want you to grab a part. I want to just take some scaled dimensions on there. So take a part. I want you to use a thread go-no gauge. Make sure that so take one, pass it down. Make sure that they are correct on the threads. And I want you to measure overall length of the part, overall width of the part, overall height of the part, and I want you to measure at least one step.
supposed to be chamfered like this?
Said length, width, height.
And measure at least one step.
Right, with height and then stuff. So we just said.
May or may not need a drill.
May or may not.
I do.
You guys are taking some dimensions anyways. Give me just a second.
I don't know, whatever guy's milling next to me, on that wall that's not supposed to be a through hole. He used,
Uh-huh.
his starter drilled like a 3/8 and went through, so he's restarting.
Sucks. It happens, man.
One of my little holes, I put a chamfer on it, didn't really ask for a chamfer, is that gonna be a lot of points off, or?
I don't know.
I was just used to chamfering for work, cause it's like,
Right.
I always,
I'll give you a millimeter.
like,
Sir.
Okay, what did you need?
drill. You have metric drills?
Hey guys, a little cheat thing, you didn't, block the thing that gives us the answers after the quiz, so we can just retake it and get it at 10.
Oh, Bobby this time?
No.
Good.
Oh, on these first two, he hasn't.
What do y'all get for your fucking?
Unit 2.2, or section 2, unit 2, section 2, unit 1. That's what I've done so far.
That center one kind of moved on the map.
So I got 3/4 of an inch.
You have a vagina, that's what you got.
Bitch ass motherfucker.
He's cheap.
Boy, I hope
So what
fucking
y'all
this
get?
up. Boy, you bitch made.
What y'all got for this shit? I got
0.75.
4
0.75 is
inches,
3/4,
4 inches
right?
and 1.500 inches.
3/4, 4 inches,
What did you get for the length of the whole thing?
4 inches.
Like my dick. And then,
Yeah!
what'd you guys get for the width?
Man, that's giving some.
I got
credit.
1.5.
I got
Yeah,
one
I
and a
got
half.
1.5.
No, yeah, it's
Like me.
1.5.
And then height, 1.5 as well.
I threw out the whole part.
Yeah.
That.
The step alone is
Up
only
here like this.
0.75.
On the height of the first step, I got 0.75, and then the length I got,
The length of the step, I got
1.5.
1.500.
Yeah, 1.1 from the.
Remember, he wants out to the
second
nearest
step.
thousand.
Me and him, we all got the same answers.
That works.
Sir.
I feel a shit cooking.
I've been taking one all night.
Dude, that
I tried to
fucking
take one
coffee
minute ago, but I was
yesterday.
like, screw this, fucking, I'll never be back in class for the rest of the day.
And we only got like an hour anyway.
Damn near.
We got math after this, don't we?
Yep, you can go take a shit in the bathroom right before we leave.
I got one Pop-Tart left in my 2 Pop-Tart package in my car that's waiting for me. Wait,
You don't need a Pop-Tart.
I do.
No, you
I
don't.
do need a Pop-Tart.
Why do you need a Pop-Tart, bud?
Food, it's good for you. Not for me though.
Not too much of it.
You know what I do want though after school? Some goddamn McDonald's. McDonald's.
Why not?
Facility, bro.
You can't drink beer in your facility?
I live with 130 other people.
Dude, you're 34 fucking years old. Tell them to go fuck themselves.
Yeah, I got a guardian, that doesn't work.
That be lows.
Fuck, kick that out of county, get out of school, everything.
Oh, shit.
So pretty much
That's why these scholarships we're getting, I'm getting a lawyer and I'm getting my own guardian.
pretty much you're their bitch.
For now, while they're paying for
Everything
it.
I own is theirs because they're technically my.
I'm getting these done so I can just fake doing them and I don't have to go outside.
That camera?
Yeah. Cha.
So what are you guys doing?
I don't think he's recording the class.
Measuring
Oh, the light's still on.
precision and seeing mistakes that someone else made.
I'm gonna go to my car. First of all.
Oh yeah, you only have one class today, huh?
No, you have math.
Math.
Did you forget you had math, Jacob?
Totally forgot.
Other than
Yep. Super. I was just picking on Brian for a bit.
Alright,
Trying to learn again.
I'll just review the video and see how you harassed him. Okay.
Press charges.
How tall is it?
1.5 inches,
1/2.
1.500.
How long is it? How wide is one of these steps?
1.500 inches. A wide?
I didn't do wide.
It's not wide, that's wide. 1930 seconds.
Let's do that one in decimal form.
I need to run to my toolbox and grab my little thing.
Your scale should show decimals on it. Flip it over.
Mine's saying right at 60.
62 hundredths.
Mine's saying right at 60. It's 6.
Mine is 600.
Mine's right at 6.
Almost right. I'm waiting for someone to say it right.
0.6 hundredths of a thousandth or whatever. 6.000.
Literally 600.
6 hundredths of a thousand.
600 thousandths.
100 thousandths?
600 thousandths.
Because it's over the decimal point, so it's 6.
0.600, right?
100,000, 600,000.
600 thousandths. Yep. So like a half inch would be 500 thousandths. Okay, how deep is the step?
0.750 thousand.
Oh, deep. Why are we? I didn't get that measurement either. Why?
Well, now you got it.
Well, now I'm gonna get it.
Well, I hope we get it.
350 thousandths.
Yeah, about 350,000.
Yeah, mine's 375.
People call me wrong. Second time. Hey, bro, I'm in class. I'll tell you.
Kind of like a curve for every step, like you almost.
Yeah, I'm in class. I'll tell you about it.
I can't get it flush.
You're popular today.
Yeah, 375.
I didn't get one of them. Thingamajiggers.
I don't know what thingamajiggers.
Oh,
So mine's too small. Both of them is no-goes.
But,
Because it just flipped down inside.
so, look at it. What does it say on it?
What's this one say? Quarter by 20.
Okay, so that's not the right size gauge.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's what I'm saying.
So ours are, the sizes are 3/8,
Yeah.
16.
I figured you had to get the wrong one.
Yep, so I brought in one too big, one too small, and then the rest of them are the right size.
these aren't going in.
On which side?
There it goes.
Okay. Yeah, so sometimes it can be just a small burr or,
Yeah, I
you know,
just didn't wanna-
dirt, edge, something, you know.
Catch it wrong.
Yeah, I have problems with that sometimes.
which is.
Then you just beat the crap out of it with a hammer. No.
Yeah, getting a bigger hammer is typically not the answer.
What?
So,
Not machine use, not.
No, it's very precise
Get
here.
a sledgehammer.
Now, when I'm fixing my car, it's a sledgehammer and some duct tape, and she's good.
JB wheel.
yeah.
There's just.
So here I've got a 250 gauge pin. Slide it in, make sure that fits good. It's got a little,
Would not be too
yeah,
loud, right?
it's got some shake in it, so I would say these holes are probably 255. So I would need to move to the next set of gauge pins for this. Okay. All right. If it had a slot in it or something like that, we would kind of change things up, measure with the gauge blocks. But okay, questions?
Can you break these tools? Like mess
You
these
can break
threads up?
anything. Yeah.
Honest, all it takes is a drop on the ground to ruin those.
Yeah. I mean, a micrometer. I mean, you drop a micrometer, it's pretty much trash.
Oh yeah, guaranteed.
Pretty much.
Might as well
anything
call it
touched.
toast.
Any of these tools, if they get dropped, honestly, sometimes even if you bump them or if you set something on them, they'll get messed up and destroyed.
I just had a kid that caught me in the tool room when I was getting somebody a drill. It's like, hey, the end of my indicator broke off. And I go, okay.
He must have rammed that thing into
He was like, I dropped it. And I was like, okay. I said, so put it on my desk, I'll order a new one. But I mean, $250 for a new indicator, so.
What was it, a ruby tip or something like that? Or
No, it's a steel ball tip, but it's a 1,000.
Does it come out of our pockets or what?
It does, so if you break it during normal usage, then we pay for it. If you break it in abusive forms, then it's on you.
No, I got like really, like my hands, like I drop stuff. Like that's just the
Yeah,
thing.
I mean, if you go through 3 indicators, you're gonna start paying for them.
Well, yeah, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying, like, I hope I don't drop them, but if it
Just wanna be
happens,
really
don't
cautious.
be surprised if I drop something.
Yeah. So it's much easier if you just come to me and go, hey, I dropped this, than for you to go, hey, this thing just broke off. Because then I'm like, well, why? And let's just get to what's going on. If you broke it during normal usage, no big deal. I'll just order a new one and we'll go on. If you broke it being abusive on it, then we've got another problem.
Better off just lying saying you dropped it instead of saying, oh, I don't know what happened. And what actually was happening, you were swinging around like a lightsaber.
Yeah, that should never happen. Yeah, that should never. Okay, any questions related to what we've been looking at?
No, I'm gonna do the quiz though.
Okay.
Unless you have something else for us.
I just have one last thing for you to look at. If you don't have a square, you can always pull a protractor, set it to 90 degrees, use it as a square. It's not your best option though. It would be like I'm at home working on something, I want it to be square, I don't have a square, but I do have a protractor. Here's what I can
use my
use.
phone as a straight edge.
Yeah, phone's not really that, but I guess it
I
could
bet
work.
this thing is probably flush. I'll tell you what, this thing is probably flush. I guarantee it. You know what? I bet I can test it right now.
I really think they're 255. So. The button is probably the thing that's gonna get it. Okay, I'm gonna shut the video off.
The buttons would probably make it.
Yeah.
But there's
Okay.
this chrome thing and there's corners on it.
What'd you do to it?
Nothing. I was